Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Stan Harris. I'm here with a good friend of many decades, Robert Butwin. Robert, you want to say hey to everybody?
Hey, I'm really grateful to be with you and looking forward to the things that we're going to share with your audience.
Awesome, awesome. So, hey, I'm going to start off with my breakthrough attitude adjuster. I just spoke for Zig's staff. When he was alive, I got a chance to speak for him. But Zig is the one that made the statement saying that, it's your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. One thing I love about Robert Butwin is this guy. He always has this attitude of gratitude, attitude of giving, attitude of consistency, and always adding value. And so I'm going to start off by adding some value here with this Breakthrough Daily Attitude Adjuster. And it's something that I use to put me in the right frame of mind, and I have people all over the world that like this, listen to it, and it helps them. And so it goes like this. Wow, what a great day to be alive. I feel dynamite. I like me. I accept me. I love me. I'm going to have a super fantastic day today because I'm too blessed to be depressed. I'm too blessed to be stressed, too glad to be sad, too anointed to be disappointed, too legit to quit. Circumstances are aligning themselves in my favor. I am healthy, physically fit, and intellectually equipped. I have wisdom far beyond my years. I'm an extraordinary person with incredible abilities, which I would use to add value to others' lives. Knowing that as I help others reach their dreams, I will automatically reach my own. I anticipate meeting the person or group of people today who are willing to use their power, wealth, and influence to empower me to reach my dreams. All day long, people will go out of their way to bless me. Today, I will add great value to someone's life. I will show compassion to those in need. I will give strength to the weak and inspiration to the weary. Someone needs what I have to offer, and I gladly make myself available. I embrace abundance, and it embraces me. I'm abundant in every good way. I am an abundance magnet. I like money, and it likes me. It is attracted to me, and it comes abundantly from many sources. I circulate God's money wisely because it's a tool to empower those in need. It's also a way of keeping score of how many people's lives I added value to. I may have been broke, busted, and disgusted, but now I declare that I'm rich, growing, and overflowing. My business is booming, checks are zooming, and I'm happy on purpose. I'm experiencing great victories, supernatural turnarounds, and miraculous breakthroughs in the midst of great impossibilities. I am an overcomer. And if my mountain can be removed, I'll develop and practice my mountain climbing skills. I may experience a setback, but setbacks are only setups for comebacks. As a matter of fact, setbacks pave the way for comebacks. I'll make lemonade out of life's lemons. And if life dares to knock me down, I'll fall on my back, realizing that as long as I can look up, I can get up. I commit to paying for my dreams with preparation and perspiration so that I won't have to live with my nightmares of regret. I do not procrastinate because procrastination leads to devastation. It is the assassination of my destination. Thus, I will act now. I'm a doer. I get results at last. I now release the champion that is inside of me. I'm the leader that multitudes of people are looking for. I choose to succeed today and every day hereafter. Watch out, world, here I come. And Bob, that's what I use to get myself fired up. I don't know if you remember, we were speaking about 9 years ago or so in California, you and I, Jeff Combs, Doug Fireball, Jerry Clark, and I think Tom Chanel. Anyway, 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and wrote that, and I've been using that ever since. And a lot of those things, as I think about those things, as I quote these things, it actually describes a lot what you are about as well. So, Robert, let's start with that, man. I mean, ever since I've known you, like every time I turn around, you're adding value to someone's life. As a matter of fact, I made a statement to you earlier that you embody, and that is, I personally have never been a network marketer, although I've been at top like you in many companies, but I've never been a network marketer. I'm just a networker who leverages marketing, and there's a huge difference. And I think you embody that. You're not one of these guys that just, I got to sign this person up, I got to get this. No, you're always trying to add value. So do you think that's one of the great secrets of your success, and you think that's what's missing today?
I think, in fact, 100% certain that's what is missing today. I'm everything that you were reading, what you wrote many years ago when you and I first met. And there's so many golden nuggets in what you just started off with that I would highly recommend everybody that's listening to this go back and re-listen to it. There's so many truths, so many golden nuggets. But the key is focusing on how you can have an impactful, positive relationship with people, how you can create value in them, rather than trying to figure out how you're going to make money from them. You do the proper exploration before you segue into a presentation. I always talk about how I want to collaborate, how I want to figure out something that I can do to have a positive impact on the other person. And that's really one of the golden nuggets that you said in what you just started this message out with. There's a saying called tip to ensure promptness. And, it's like if you're going out for a fine meal, do you give the tip at the beginning or the end of the meal? Obviously at the beginning. Why do we do that? Because in developing any kind of team, it's how we're demonstrating how we're going to help them. Because the two things the other person's evaluating is, can they do this and will you help them? So when do you want to start demonstrating how you're going to help improving somebody's life? At the beginning, before we even started this conversation. Stan, you send me over a message based on you and your wife as far as what your guiding principles are, and there's so much wisdom as far as how we're making that positive impact. So I totally believe that's one key aspect to being successful as a top leader in whatever you're doing, in life in general, so that you live on beyond your time on this planet.
Wow. Well, you said a key word, and that is collaboration, because here's the way I put it, Robert. 1 plus 1 is 2. That's cooperation. However, 1 and 1, that's 11. That's collaboration. And you have to be the king of collaborations, man. It's like every time we talk, you're always seeing how you can put people together, connect people, collaborate, and match your strengths with other people and so forth. I think that's another key ingredient that's missing in a lot of people today. So how did you cultivate that? And why don't you talk and address that for a while? Because I think you've done it so long now. It's like I think it might even be unconscious now. You've done it so many times. You just
well, it is ingrained. Rather than figuring out how am I going to pitch somebody, because until people understand that you're really there as a team member, and I love the acronym of team together, everybody achieves miracles, but, the bottom line is until they understand that you're really there because you can demonstrate value to somebody else, because there are so many people, and, you take a look at the way the masses operate, they're coming from survival, scarcity. So they're coming from the fact that, how can I get into your pocket? And I understand that, but again, I want to differentiate myself from the majority of the other people because of the fact that, first of all, over a period of time, I've developed a very solid network of people, of contacts, of business people, and I don't want to, do anything that's going to obviously damage any of those relationships. But right. I also believe that you need to connect people with the right people or guide them to information. Jerry Clark, who I know that you just got done interviewing or are in the process of interviewing, used to always talk about PAT, point at tools. I know that over the period of time, Stan, you've created this 21-day challenge that is getting people phenomenal results, because going back to what I said in my book, you want to create interdependent relationships rather than codependent relationships. So the more that we can guide people to the information that will have that positive, impactful, should I say, defining moment in wherever they're at in their career, the more that we can do that, number one, it allows us to know that we are that trusted advisor.
Wow. Well, I think in one conversation you talked about that you realized, again, one of those defining moments you said was when you realized that your beliefs were responsible for your results. Now, we're living in a day and age where people they play the blame game, blame, B-L-A-M-E, being lazy, right, and manifesting excuses. That's my acronym for blame. But you said a defining moment is when you realize that your beliefs are responsible for your results. Talk about that for a minute, because I don't think that some people really get the full gist and power of that.
Well, we all have the self-talk beliefs. I remember when I started off playing basketball, and I would take a shot and I missed it, and I started hearing my self-talk. And when I changed this, the things that I would say to myself, my beliefs, the fact that where I was, I started to take responsibility for that being the case. See, once I realized that you can take responsibility for what is, no matter what your situation, circumstances are, then you can take it to the next level, responsibility for what you deserve to happen. But unfortunately, most people are in a state of denial, and I love the acronym of denial, which is don't even notice I am lying, and you're lying to yourself. So, whenever you're, should I say, giving a reason of why you didn't do anything, nobody cares about the reason. It's about the results. There's two sides. It's the results we create, not the reasons of why. And so I always want to focus on the belief that this is what I deserve. This is what I should create in my life. This is what I want to accomplish. This is the impact that I want to have on other people, because I'm looking for long-term quality relationships. And so the key that I've learned as a networker is you want to create a high level of know, like, and trust as fast as possible. But the key is once you've got that high level of know, like, and trust, is to keep it at that high level.
Wow. Well, I can definitely testify you've done that, man. And I think everybody that knows you, you really do believe, the Bible talks about giving and receiving. And I think most people are trying to do the receiving part. They never did the giving part, where you focused on the giving part. And so it's obviously the receiving part. So why don't you address that for a moment? I know you kind of brushed over it, but I think that is a really important part. And especially today, where people are so skeptical and people have been scammed, they've been used, they've been abused, and everybody seems like everybody's out to get them. And here comes this guy, Robert Butwin, says, "Oh, no. I just want to be kind to you. I just want to, no hype, no hoopla. Here it is, just consistently giving." So address that.
Well, again, unfortunately, I've come across a lot of the wrong element, and I never want to sit back and focus on or even think about the kind of people that I've run across, because obviously everything that happens to us is there to serve us. So, and I understand that. And so it's like we all get experiences, and I love the definition of experience. If we're moving forward, we're going to have experience. Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So the point is, are you going to use that to validate the lack, or are you going to create a stepping stone out of that? So, I always want people to have a, positive experience. If nothing else, I know, at my heart of hearts, I did the right thing in a way that could help that person move in the right direction. And ultimately, the more I do that, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come back from that person, but the universe always seems to present golden opportunities coming from areas that I never expected them to happen. So, the receiving will happen. You've just got to have faith, and you've got to do it consistently over a period of time. It doesn't necessarily happen, okay, I just gave to this person. I see that person had a phenomenal win. Now where's mine coming? No, you can't have that kind of a attitude or thought pattern. If you do it consistently over a period of time, that ultimately the receiving always happens. I've had a blessed life so far, and I know that my best is yet to come. But, again, it's just because I consistently do the right thing when I come across people.
Wow, that's so good. As a matter of fact, my wife, I call her my ABCD, that stands for Adorable Brown Caramel Delight. But my wife, Nadia, we say we're a breakthrough covenant couple building breakthrough relationships based on the covenant of promise, and we aspire to inspire breakthroughs even after we've expired. We say if it's not win-win-win, we're not in. But whenever it's win-win-win, we're all the way in. And one of the things about you, Robert, is anytime you call, it's usually always a win-win-win. And not like, something, it's getting to be cliche with some people, because they don't have congruency. They say it, but they don't live it, right? you actually do it. I think you practice it even more than you say it, and so it's just really powerful. And with you, it's not like, like, because some people, they're starting to get the win, but what they're doing is big win for them, little win for everybody else, right? But you seem to make it equally. And that's got to be, again, something that's very powerful as well. So, I mean, your book, Street Smart Network Marketing, all the different things you've done and are still doing, is just incredible. But that seems to be the theme of really what the crux of Robert Butwin and what he's about. Would you agree?
Obviously, as I'm self-evaluating myself, I would totally agree. It's like, I love in your message, it's like how you can have a positive impact on people after you expire. I think of people like that have gone before us and that we've spoken on stage with, people like Jim Rohn, and how many, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people he's had a positive impact on because of the philosophy that he knew was right and true, and how he was able to communicate it in a very precise, clear manner. And, again, that's the kind of, impact that I would like to have, is the fact that I know that whenever my time is up, that I did the best that I could to make as much of a positive impact as possible.
Wow. Well, speaking of Jim Rohn, one time Jim Rohn and Bill Bailey and I, Bill was my main mentor, but we were speaking together out in Montana, and we had just an incredible conversation. I asked them the question, and I'm going to ask you the same question, but I asked them, I said, tell me about the worst day of your lives. And they kind of looked at like, nobody's ever asked us that before. I said, well, I know how to handle the good days. I said, I want to know what you did the bad days, And matter of fact, Bill Bailey, I'll never forget, he said, well, my worst day was the day I lost $12 million. I was like, oh, you had 12 to lose? And I said to him, well, how'd you get through that? And he said to me, I never forget, he said, I figured if I made it before, I could make it again, except this time I'm older, I'm wiser, and as you mentioned a few moments ago, I have more experience. So he said that attitude alone kept me centered, and I did it, And Jim Rohn was saying something, similar. But so what would you say? Because again, there's probably people listening, and it's like, man, this guy Robert sounds like a great guy, and everything happens great for him. But what would you say is one of the worst times or worst days that you ever had, and how did you get out of it? How did you overcome?
Oh, one of the worst days that I ever had, and I could go into a lot of detail, but I think I want to spare a lot of the detail. But a person that I had a lot of faith in, I believed was the real deal. And he had come up with a different way of, supposedly under a higher purpose of really getting to the top of network marketing companies. And the worst day was when I came to the realization after I was involved with him for a short period of time, and I put up a lot of money, for me at the time, probably $100,000 amongst a couple credit cards, and I realized it was a scam. What he was doing was a scam. And obviously I had to disassociate, but it was that feeling that somebody that you had so much faith in, and that you felt that you were doing the right things for the right reasons, and you come to realize that it wasn't. And after I disassociated, I know for a fact of probably about 5-6 different direct marketing companies that he took for, probably close to $2 million. But in the meantime, the bottom line is, you put faith in other people, people make commitments, and you really believe that they are who they say they are, and they let you down. And I've got other examples, but that was probably the worst one because, again, I had to pay back a bunch of money on a credit card. Part of it I was able to be based on fraud to get out of, but, again, it was not a good situation.
Wow. I can't even imagine, bro. I can't even imagine, man.
Yeah.
But you came through it, and you still have that belief in humanity, and so. So, Robert, what would you say to somebody maybe like today is not their good day, and they just happen to stumble across this information, and they're listening, and they're like, these guys sound like like everything's going good for them, but man, I'm hurting right now. I'm just barely able to even listen to this. You guys sound even a little too positive for me. So what would you say to the person who's struggling now? What would you say to the person who hasn't found their way, who hasn't, just to give them some guidance, some nuggets of what they could do to, get plugged in?
Well, the first thing I would say is let them sincerely and honestly and authentically know that I empathize with where they are. Because again, sometimes, and I've got a friend of mine and they say ignorance of the law is no excuse, but he just became homeless, and he's been a solid entrepreneur, solid human being, really didn't do anything wrong. So, I mean, I can empathize with what's going on, hopefully help them realize that what they're experiencing is going to serve them, that I see them breaking through, I see them being a great mentor, and as they're going to be mentoring other people, and other people are going to be coming to them with different hardships, you're going to be able to look them in the eye, you're going to be able to speak from the heart, you're going to be able to empathize with them because you knew what it took for you to break through. You're going to be able to give them a sign of encouragement. And if I could guide them to something, I would guide them to information that would help them with 100% certainty, guide them to that information, or maybe even help subsidize that or pay it for them. It's hard to say. I mean, but again, the more that you are able to guide people, share the right words, share the right feelings, guide them to information, and that's really all that I know that I can do.
Wow. Well, and I want to throw this in. I think one of the other things that you've done is you've demonstrated that with your life, right? That you just continued on. I always tell people behind the glory, there's always a story, and sometimes the story is very gory, right? So they're like, yeah, but the fact that you're still going and making a difference in people's lives. So Robert, people that want to know more information about you, like your books, your like, how do they connect with you? How do they find out more information, what you're doing, what you got going on?
Very simple. Just all they have to do is send me an email. My email is Butwin, Butwin @gmail.com. Just remember, with Robert, you do nothing but win. I love your philosophy, the triple win, and as long as you keep that kind of a philosophy, that making sure that every interaction that the other person wins and focus on them first. But all you have, Butwin @gmail.com.
Wow, okay. Butwin, Butwin @gmail. I love the way you said that. With Robert, you can't help but win. That's good, man. That's good. That's catchy. So let's get ready to close out here, but let's talk a little bit about, because I know you're a big believer, not like most people. Most people believe in self-development. You believe in practice self-development. So why don't you talk about that, the importance of that?
I think it's crucial. I remember when I started off, because, again, my parents forced me to get an education, and I went through the formal educational process, but I got my real life lessons above and beyond what I did, but from educating myself, buying different CDs, reading different books. My library, and this is one of the keys, I probably paid over $100,000. I didn't really necessarily tally up as much as I spent, but I spent a lot of money on, different CDs and books that gave me the skill set that no matter virtually what comes my way, I've got the right mindset. Because really what it boils down to is what you put in your mind, what you put in your body, and the results that you do, the actions you create. Doing the proper actions consistently over a period of time will ultimately get you the results. If your intention is clear and you consistently focus on self-development along with doing the proper actions, you are destined to become a top leader.
Wow. And again, we got to go back to that famous quote by Jim Rohn, formal education will help you make a living, but personal development can help you make a fortune. And the millions that you've made in this industry, I know what the millions that I made, I could all trace it back again to personal development and growing and growth. What is it? It's been said, what, the largest room in the world is a room for personal development. And not long ago, Les Brown and I, we were speaking in the UK, and at that particular event, he spoke first, and then I spoke. But he said something that, man, is like, grabbed me. I never thought of it the way he put it. He said, information costs, but it pays for itself 10 times over. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and my wife, she's actually, I mean, she's beautiful, but she's brilliant. But she, you know, we first got married many years ago. She said to me, she's like, you know, baby, we don't want to spend in our money. And I was like, okay. And I'm thinking, man, I married this beautiful woman. I knew it was going to cost me, but did she just say, we don't want to spend any money? so I'm like about to say hallelujah. She's like, no, we only want to circulate money. And I was like, okay, sounds pretty good, but what does that mean? She explained, she said, you know, when you spend money, it's gone. She said, but when you circulate money, she said, it goes out and it comes back. A never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. I was like, whoa. I said, from now on in the Harris household, we're going to look for ways that we can circulate the money that we have, where it goes out and it comes back. And as a matter of fact, the whole personal development piece, I think that's the kind of like people overlook that. That's like the iceberg. That's like the bottom of the iceberg. Is the big part that people don't see. They just see the top part, but they don't see that bottom part underneath of the personal development. Like you said, the thousands and tens of thousands and perhaps $100,000 or more that you spent on personal development is the thing that's brought forth this dividend of the why you get to do what you do now, live the way you live, have the experiences you have, and so that's just absolutely crucial. And as a matter of fact, my 21-day breakthrough challenge, I developed that to kind of encapsulate 43 years of my best teaching and thought processes and even preaching as a minister of the gospel as well. But I put it down because everybody's busy these days. So I was trying to figure out how can I help them. And I heard a statement that challenged me, and it says the greatest speakers are the ones who can make the fewest words go the farthest. And I was like, wow. So I went through this painstaking process of distilling down 43 years of my life into 21 3 to 7 minute videos. So everybody's got busy as they are. I think at least it's on average of 4.5 minutes a day. And, you know, hit something with a hammer once or twice, it might not break. But 21 days in a row, something's going to break. And so it was designed for that. And as you mentioned earlier, you know, whole companies have embraced it. Individuals, got a gentleman with a church of 1,000 people. They're going to be his whole church. He's putting his whole church through it. We've had people. It's just been incredible the results that they're getting. And that's what it's about. It's about the results that they can get. And so I just want to give a short little. There's a little 24/7. I call it breakthrough information line. The people can just dial 24/7. It's about a 3.5 minute message, but the number is 646-653-1831. It's 646-653-1831. So that'll give you a short little information more about that 21-day breakthrough challenge. That again, this has been changing people's lives. I just got a note the other day from a lady, 40 years of being married, and their marriage has been revolutionized by the challenge. And she said they got a huge financial blessing. Part of the thing, she said that because of the direct result of taking the challenge, her and her husband put them on a whole other level in their relationship. And for the first time in 40 years, he asked her, what do you think we'll do? He's one of those strong kind of guys, right? Just take charge. And but this time he said, what do you think we'll do? And she's like, well, I've been waiting for you to ask me that for all these years, but I don't really want to make the decision. I want us to do it together. And she said they did it together, and the result was a $112,000 check. I was like, what? So she said, so I'm taking your challenge again. I'm like, well, I'm about to take it myself again. But anyway, but check out that number again, 646-653-1831. And then you can look on the website, www.thebreakthroughchallenge.com has some information. thebreakthroughchallenge.com. But Robert, again, you mentioned that they can contact you at, Butwin at gmail.com.
Right.
But is there, say it again?
Yeah, no, that's correct. What you're going to say is there.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had a website or some other additional information, or just as we come to these closing moments, is there something you'd like to, maybe we didn't talk about, that you'd like to bring up and talk about or give out?
The only thing I'd like to leave everybody with, and I remember one time I was closing a meeting with somebody, and they turned to the audience and they said, you know, if Robert can do it, you guys are going to be superstars. You know, if Stan, Dr. Stan, and if I can do it, you know, for each and every one of you that are listening, you can create an unbelievable life as long as you believe it and do the proper actions. And if you're being stuck, I highly recommend it that you go through Dr. Stan's Breakthrough Challenge.
Wow. Well, thank you, Robert. One thing, the way I say what you said, and that is, if you believe, and folks, let me just address it, say it to you. If you believe like Robert and I believe, and if you do like we do, what happens for us can happen for you, but because we're not the standard, it can happen even better for you, and that's actually our desire, and that's our prayer, my friend, that you can actually not just do what we've done, but go even further, because now, technology, and now you can actually, Jerry Clark tells me, you can stand on our shoulders, right, and have it even a little extra edge. And so I hope you understand that everybody's not out to get you. There's some folks here that believe you are in your corner. And Robert, in my life, as I close out, that's been one of the biggest things, is when I didn't believe in myself, to have other people, and I think that's the beauty of the industry too, of home-based business, is to have coaches and mentors and people that can see the potential that you can't even see. You know, Jaharvi's window shows us there's a part of us that we can't see in our potential. But anyway, but the people that can see that, and they work with us and deal with us based on that, and I think that's one of the other secrets we didn't talk about, but I think that's one of the secrets also of your team building and dealing with people, is that seeing the potential and dealing with them based on their potential and what they could become and what they can do, instead of where they are right now or what they've been through, right, or what happened in their past. And so, folks, I hope you receive this. I hope, like one gentleman told me one day, he said, you know, I know right now you're going through some hard times and you might not think you can make it. And Robert, I said to him, well, you know how they say the light at the end of the tunnel? Man, not only do I not see a light, I don't see a tunnel. and this older gentleman said to me, he said, well, you know what? I believe for you. So he said, so obviously your faith is low right now, and obviously you're so into what's going on, and I understand. So like you said, he had empathy. So he must have been through something like this before himself, right? And he said to me, but I want you to just do this. I just want you to believe in my belief in you. Yep. I was like, whoa. And he said, and you don't see it, but I see it, and I see you coming out bigger, better, and stronger. Yep. And he was right. And that's when I do my,
I was going to say, that's one of the keys, having belief in others when they don't have belief in themselves.
Wow. And that's what I do when I teach, when I do demonstrations, when I do my speaking and have people break, boards and so forth. The last event we were at, and Myron Gold and I were speaking together at his 1 Year Millionaire Live, and I had people say, raise your hand if you never broke a board, and a bunch of people raised their hand. Now, raise up the other hand if you not only never broke a board, but you can't break a board. Well, several people raised both hands. I said, good, you're the ones I want. Come on up here. They're like, no, you didn't. Maybe you didn't understand. We raised hand. We said I said, no. That I'm gonna prove. I want to show you something. And it was so amazing when I just in 5 minutes taught them how to break a board, and they were just like, it was crazy. Like they were like, wow. And I said, well, part of it is because I know you can do it. You might not know, but I know you can do it. And secondly, I'm a grandmaster in the martial arts. I'm going to teach you some things, and it's going to be done. And I think that's why, again, Robert, you have such great success, and you're working with people, you're dealing with people. And folks, I want you to understand, man, you have to connect to a Robert Butwin. If you don't have a Robert Butwin in your life, you're missing out on something. You got to have people in your life like this that are like this great example and a standard for you, and something you could strive to be like. But again, when you get the proper beliefs and the proper actions, you can actually even exceed And that's part of why we did what we did today. So, Robert, thank you, man. Appreciate you. And I know folks are going to get some great value out of this. So here you are again, man, giving great value again.
Sounds good. It's always a pleasure, Dr. Stan.
All righty, man. Appreciate you.
Take care. Appreciate you.